Hello class. In the last lecture, we were completed the discussion of beta disintegration energy in three process: beta minus decay, beta plus decay, and electron capture. In the today's lecture, I am going to discuss about the topic beta ray spectrum and Pauli's prediction of neutrino. Then we will discuss the gamma ray emission, their internal conversion and pair production. Then after we will cover the pair annihilation. Yes, what is the beta disintegration energy? This is nothing but the energy emitted in the beta decay process. We know that beta decay is of three types: beta minus decay, beta plus decay, electron capture, right? So, yesterday we covered these two and some part left in the electron capture. So, regarding this, what is the equation ZXA? This is the parent nucleus that gives rise to ZXA plus electron minus 1 E0 gives rise to Z minus 1 YA plus neutrino. So, here the parent nucleus captures the electron from the very near to the nucleus, that is K shell, then the daughter nucleus Z minus YA is formed, right? So what is the inner reaction taking here is the proton of nucleus that captures the electron in the K shell that gives rise to neutron plus neutrino. Here proton is converting into the neutron by capturing the electron. By capturing the electron. From where electron? Yes, it is electron existing in the key shell. You know, this is the nucleus, the first shell, second shell, third shell, like this, right? So here the first shell is the key, second shell L, M, N, and so on. We represent that. The nucleus, inside the nucleus, the proton can capture the electron in the K shell. Then it is changing into the neutron. Because proton is changing into the neutron, one proton number is decreased. Therefore, the atomic number decreases 1 unit in this process. So, what I am saying is, in the electron capture, the atomic number decreases by 1 unit, but there is no change in the mass number. Of course, in beta minus decay, beta plus decay, electron capture, in these three processes, mass number doesn't change. Only the this atomic number changes, that is delta Z is equal to either plus or minus 1. In beta minus decay, delta Z equal to plus 1. In beta plus decay and electron capture, the atomic number decreases by 1 unit. So for this, uh, let us write the nuclear masses of parent nucleus. It is Mn of Az, right? Electron mass Me, and this what is this daughter nucleus mass Mn of Az minus 1. So neutrino rest mass 0. It is neglected here. These are the nuclear masses. Then how we write the mass defect in this reaction? Mass defect, we represent it as delta M, that equals to mass defect is nothing but it is the difference of mass of the parent nucleus and the total mass of the products. They are electron and electron is also in the this is the constant participate in the reaction. So therefore left side we have MnAz and Me, this total mass. Right side we have Mn of Az minus 1. So here right side the mass somewhat less compared to the left side mass. Hence mass defect will take place. Accordingly, the energy will be emitted. That energy is called disintegration energy. Here mass defect delta M, how we are writing? Mn of Az plus electron mass Me minus Mn of A Z minus 1. This is the mass defect. We have Einstein mass energy relation. What is that? Equal to mc square. What it represents? For the mass m, equivalent energy mc square. So then, according to this equation, for the mass defect delta m, the equivalent energy will be delta m into c square. Therefore, the disintegration in the electron capture Q is equal to delta m into c square, that equal delta m is mn of Az plus electron mass Me, this is the electron captured from the K shell, minus Mn of Az minus 1, this is mass of the daughter nucleus, into C square. Okay, this represents the disintegration energy in the electron capture. So, if you want to express this in terms of atomic masses, then you can write QE equals to, this is m of Az minus ZME, their electron mass total, because in this nuclide Z number of electrons are existing. Each electron mass Me, then total electron mass Z into Me. So that is subtracted because m of Az is the atomic mass. In this it is included. So therefore for this we should subtract this one plus Me minus this one m of Az minus 1 minus Z minus 1 into Me, right, into Me minus into C square minus binding energy. Here binding energy, that is disintegration energy, not binding, disintegration energy in the electron capture delta m into C square minus Be, because some energy is spent to capture the electron. So therefore it should be subtracted. Here also minus Be, this is the binding energy of the electron. This is equal to m of Az minus Zme plus Me minus m of Az minus 1, this is the daughter nucleus atomic mass, minus into minus gets plus, right, then plus Zme minus Me into C square minus binding energy of K electron, that is B. So that equals to minus Zme plus Zme cancel, plus Me minus Me cancel, then what left? M of Az, this is atomic mass of parent nucleus or initial nucleus, minus atomic mass of daughter nucleus, right, into C square minus B. Okay, this is the disintegration energy in the electron capture. So here, if QE greater than 0, then M of Az greater than M of A into Z minus 1, M of Az minus M of Az minus 1 Be greater than 0, right, greater than 0, then M of Az greater than M of Az minus 1 plus Me plus what is this? Be. When this condition is satisfied, then electron capture takes place. Okay. For QE greater than 0, M of Az minus M of Az minus 1 minus Be greater than 0. Now, whenever the mass of parent nucleus greater than the daughter nucleus by an amount, binding energy of K electron, then electron capture takes place. So this is about disintegration energy in the electron capture. So now coming to the next concept, to beta spectrum. What is beta spectrum? Right. So for this you consider this diagram. Here electron energy, taking electron energy taken on x-axis, right? So number of electrons, relative number of electrons taken on y-axis, then graph will be like this. Okay, graph will be like this. Say it is some 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 and so on, it 1.2. Here it is in the units million electron volts, right? So what is the beta spectrum? The energy spectrum of beta particles, it has been studied by many scientists using different techniques and instruments. The beta spectrum is found to be continuous spectrum. So here the beta particle energies emitting from any radioactive substances ranging from 0 to up to a certain maximum limit value, this point is called end point energy. This is called what is that? End point energy. So my concept is, in beta emission, there are a number of particles are emitting by the radioactive substances. Here the kinetic energy of the beta particle ranges from 0 to some maximum limit, certain limit. That maximum limit is called endpoint energy. Okay, it is denoted with E maximum. Endpoint energy is called E maximum. So it is the maximum energy with which beta particles emitted from a radioactive substance. Right. So in addition to the continuous primary spectrum, sometimes there exists some sharp lines on this continuous spectrum. So these sharp lines of beta spectrum with the discrete energies are due to the electrons ejected from KLM shells of the atom because of the phenomenon of internal conversion. Okay, these sharp lines are originating due to the electrons ejecting from the KLM shells of the atom due to the phenomenon of internal conversion. So here in the beta ray spectrum exploration, some difficulties are faced. So when we consider the beta minus decay in general representation, what is that? ZXA gives rise to electron, that is minus 1 beta 0 plus Z plus 1 YA. So this is general representation. So here atomic number increased by 1 unit, mass number is no change. So minus 1 electron or minus beta particle. Yes, in this beta decay process, in any nuclear reactions, what are the conditions to be followed? Conservation of charge. The second is conservation of nucleon number. The third one, conservation of linear momentum. The fourth condition required is conservation of angular momentum. So these four conservations should be obeyed in any nuclear process. But coming to the beta ray spectrum, that charge is conserved. Okay, nuclear number is also conserved, there is no problem. But conservation of linear momentum, conservation of angular momentum, fifth one, conservation of energy also. So in these three processes, there is some difficulty to explain that. Why? Because coming to the conservation of energy, so when the energy calculation regarding the beta decay showed that the energy of a nucleus emitting beta particle decreases by an amount equal to this endpoint energy. Okay, but most of the beta particles emitted have energies much smaller than this endpoint energy. So therefore, law of conservation of energy is violated. What I am saying is, in the beta decay process, when the energy calculations are observed, it is very clear that the energy of the beta particle is less than this endpoint energy. So therefore, energy, the law of conservation of energy is violated. This is the one difficulty or one failure. In addition to this energy conservation, the conservation of linear momentum also violated, either in beta plus decay or minus beta minus decay process. For example, if we assume that this parent nucleus, if we assume this parent nucleus is at rest, parent nucleus is at rest, here the beta particle and daughter nucleus are forming, right? When it is at rest, if the conservation of linear momentum is obeyed, then the beta particle and the daughter nucleus should move with the same linear momentum in opposite direction along the same straight line. Because what the conservation of linear momentum, what is that? The initial momentum is equal to the total final momentum. Total final momentum is me plus ve plus daughter nucleus mass md and its speed vd. Then me ve is equal to minus md vd. So what it represents, what it indicates, beta particle momentum should be equal to the daughter nucleus momentum. So here minus sign indicates they should move in opposite direction along the same straight line. But it is not happening, right? So therefore it is violated the law of conservation of linear momentum. And also it is violated the conservation of angular momentum or spin, because according to the shell model of the nucleus, the nucleids with even mass number have spin either 0 or integral spin, that is a h cut, 2h cut and so on, right? So the nucleids with odd mass number have off integral spin, off h cat, 3 by 2 h cat, something like that. The electron has a spin equal to off h cat. As number of nucleons here, as number of nucleons, this is nuclear number is constant both sides, right? Number of nucleons in beta decay remains the same. Now, how it is possible for a nucleon of even mass number and integral spin emits an electron of spin half h cat and that give rise to a daughter nucleus of the same mass number and also of integral spin? So, what I am saying is, here left side the mass number E, right side we have the mass number E, right? If it is even number, the integral spin of this nucleus may be 0 h cut to h cut integral spin. So therefore right side also same mass number is not changing, therefore there is no difference in that. But we have some electron right hand side, electron spin is off h cat. So right hand side the total spin is not equal to the total spin left side. Therefore the spin conservation is violated. In other words, the law of conservation of angular momentum is violated. So this is the three violations. One is the violation of conservation of energy, the violation of conservation of linear momentum, and conservation of angular momentum violation. In order to explain these three anomalies, Pauli in 1930 suggested that a neutral particle that is neutrino, it is called it as neutrino, it has zero mass, no charge, and its antiparticle is nu bar, denoted with nu bar. We call it as antineutrino. It has also zero mass and no charge. Okay, he suggested that a neutral particle, that is a neutrino, which is having the negligible mass, emitted along with the emission of beta minus particle. So that particle is called as antineutrino. That's why we have written the equation ZXA gives rise to minus 1 beta 0 plus Z plus 1 YA. So this is not. It should be modified as ZXA gives rise to minus 1 beta 0 plus Z plus 1 YA plus antineutrino nu bar. This is in the beta minus decay process. In beta plus decay process, this equation should be written like this: ZXA gives rise to plus 1 beta 0 plus Z minus 1 YA plus neutrino. So there is some other particle is emitting along with the beta particle. According to Pauli, he explained the beta emission as to explain the violation of conservation of energy, linear momentum, conservation of angular momentum. He suggested that along with the beta particle, that may be beta minus or beta plus, neutrino particle should be emitted. In beta minus decay, antineutrino particle; in beta plus decay, neutrino particle is emitting. So here nu bar is the antiparticle of nu and vice versa. So both are having zero mass and no charge. And also the spin of the nu or nu bar is off h cut. Okay. Now, so how it is explaining? Right. So first let us see the conservation of charge. So by putting this, left side we have plus ZE, right side minus 1 plus Z plus 1, since it has no charge, charge is conserved. Coming to the nuclear number conservation, left side what we have, the left side nuclear number is A, right side the nuclear number is A. So therefore nuclear number is also conserved. Now the conservation of linear momentum. So here the beta particle, initially suppose this is at rest, initial momentum is 0. So right side what we have, beta particle, daughter nucleus and antineutrino. The vector sum of linear momentum of these three particles, that is P1 bar plus P2 bar plus P3 bar, should be equals to 0. So by considering this, the law of conservation of linear momentum is explained. So the violation, whatever we talked before, the violation of conservation of linear momentum simply can be explained this by adding this by emission of the antineutrino particle. So there is a need not to move this beta particle and daughter nucleus with the same linear momentum in opposite direction. By considering this, the total linear momentum of these three particles should be equals to 0. So we can explain that by using the triangle of vectors. Therefore, so that is explained. Now, conservation of charge. So according to experimental results, the beta particle energy not equals to this endpoint energy. So there is somewhat lesser value because it is sharing to this neutrino particle. The sum of beta particle and this daughter nucleus and this total energy, beta particle energy and neutrino particle energy, of course it is in rest. The sum of the kinetic energies of beta particle and antineutrino is equal to the this endpoint energy. Therefore, conservation of energy is also holds good. So what I am saying, the total energy of beta particle and neutrino is constant, which is equal to endpoint energy. Therefore, according to neutrino hypothesis, a low energy particle beta is accompanied by high energy neutrino and vice versa. Okay. Therefore, the conservation of energy obeyed in the beta decay process. Now the third point is conservation of the conservation of what is that angular momentum. So here the spin angular momentum of neutrino is, the spin angular momentum of neutrino or antineutrino is half h cut. So left side, so this may be, if it is odd odd mass number is even number, the integral, the spin angular momentum 0 or h cut integral spin. So right side mass number same, so they can be cancelled out. Electron spin my half h cut, neutrino spin half h cut. Half h cut plus half h cut will get 1 h cut. So the difference of left side and right side, that may be 0 or integer value. Therefore, conservation of angular momentum also obeyed. What I am saying here, the spin angular momentum of neutrino or antineutrino is half h cut. Therefore, the spin angular momentum of daughter nucleus be equal to or differ by an integer from spin angular momentum of the parent nucleus as it is required by the law of conservation of angular momentum. Therefore, by considering the neutrino particle, Pauli explained the beta ray spectrum successfully, because so if it is not there, there is some anomalies, three anomalies: violation of conservation of linear momentum, violation of conservation of energy, violation of conservation of angular momentum. So by considering the neutrino particle, he successfully explained these three violations. So this is about beta ray spectrum, beta ray continuous spectrum. Now, what is the gamma emission? Gamma emission, right? The next topic we are going to discuss is gamma emission. Gamma emission. Right. What is gamma emission? This is the emission of gamma electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic photon from the nucleus is called gamma emission. So this takes place followed by alpha decay or beta decay, right? Why? Because when a radioactive substance emitting the alpha particle, then the nucleus will get excited state. Then in coming to the ground state, that can emit the electromagnetic radiation. So therefore, electromagnetic photon will be emitted out. So that is called gamma photon. So its general representation, how we are writing, ZXA gives rise to gamma ray photon plus ZYA, ZXA, same. Nuclide is not changing. Here only the difference is you are putting the star. The star represents excited state of nucleus. It is ground state of nucleus, right? In this sense, gamma ray photon electromagnetic radiation has no mass, and no charge. There is no change in the atomic number and also mass number. Therefore, charge is conserved and mass number is also, or nuclear number is also conserved. If you consider one example, 82 lead 210 gives rise to 83 bismuth 210 plus electron plus neutrino. This is the beta minus decay of lead 210. Then here we are getting the excited bismuth nucleus. Therefore 83 bismuth 210, this is excited nucleus, then that will emit the gamma ray photon. Then we get 83 bismuth 210 daughter nucleus in the ground state. So in this process, so what happened, when the 82 lead 210 emitted the beta particle, beta minus or electron, then the whatever the daughter nucleus, that is 83 bismuth 210, gets the excited state. Therefore, in coming to the ground state, it is emitted the gamma ray photon, right? So this is the process happening in the gamma emission, right? In gamma ray or gamma emission also, charge is conserved, the nuclear number is conserved, right? So energy also conserved. How energy is conserved? Yes. First, 83 bismuth 210. Here also we are getting the 83 bismuth 210. Only difference is it is at excited state, it is in the ground state. Suppose in the excited state energy say E1, in the ground state energy E2. Okay, then E1 minus E2, the difference of these two, E1 minus E2 equal to h nu, that is energy of the gamma photon. So that equal, you can write nu equal to c by lambda. Why? Because any photon moves with the speed of light. Any photon moves with the speed of light 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Okay. So therefore here also there is no violation of conservation of energy. So the difference of energies of the excited nucleus and the ground nucleus, that is emitted in the form of electromagnetic radiation with the energy h nu. Therefore a photon of frequency nu or wavelength lambda is emitted in that process. And also one more thing, conservation of linear momentum. Conservation of linear momentum also here obeyed. Suppose in this process, this 83 bismuth 210, 83 bismuth 210 is the daughter ground state and nucleus. If it is in rest, initial momentum is 0, right? So gamma photon energy, how much? H nu same, right? So its mass, this ground state and nucleus mass capital M and the speed v. Then for this corresponding momentum, how much? So what is the momentum? Momentum is equal to, what is that? M into c. M into c. Okay, that equals to, M is equal to, we can write h nu by c. Momentum of this gamma ray photon, mp equal to h nu by c. How? Momentum of the photon m into c, or you can write it is mc square. It is, you can write mc square by c equal to, mc square is photon energy E by c, but equal photon energy h nu by c. Okay. So the momentum of the photon formula in terms of frequency h nu by c, right? So therefore here momentum of the photon h nu by c and the momentum of ground state nucleus 83 bismuth. So now applying the conservation of linear momentum, the initial momentum should be equals to the total final momentum, that is momentum of the photon h nu by c plus the linear momentum of ground state nucleus mv, right? Then h nu by c is equal to minus mv. So here somewhat the ground, whatever this final nucleus which is getting the ground state will get the recoil with the same linear momentum equal to the gamma ray photon. Therefore linear momentum also conserved here. Now the spin angular momentum of photon is h cat, 1 h cat. This its spin value h cat. Therefore since there is no change in the nucleon number, left side and right side, its spin is h cat. So left side right side spin difference you will get the integer value. Hence the spin conservation is obeyed, or in other terms we can say that the conservation of angular momentum is also obeyed. So in gamma emission, charge is conserved and the nuclear number is conserved, linear momentum is conserved, the total energy is conserved, and the angular momentum is also conserved, right? So now in this, what is the next concept is internal conversion. What is meant by internal conversion? Let us see. Internal conversion, right? A nucleus in excited state can undergo transition to lower energy state either by emission of gamma ray photon or by directly transferring energy to atomic electron. If the binding energy of electron is less than the energy transferred to the atomic shell electron, then the electron is emitted from that atomic shell. So that emitted electron is called internal conversion electron. Then the kinetic energy of that electron is equal to transition energy, that is kinetic energy of electron, we write it as transition energy E1 minus E2 minus binding energy of electron. Okay, so what I am saying here, in the gamma ray emission, the nucleus when beta decay or alpha decay, here the nucleus in excited state, right? So in coming to the lower energy state, right, through the gamma ray photon, so there that energy by directly transferring to the atomic electron. So whatever that gamma ray or electromagnetic radiation energy emitted, if that transfers to the atomic electron, then the electron in the K shell will be ejected out. That electron is called internal conversion electron. Therefore, here we are writing kinetic energy of the electron ejected from the K shell equal to E1 minus E2 minus BE. E1 is energy of the excited state nucleus, E2 energy of the ground state nucleus. So that difference equal to gamma ray photon energy, right? So from that we are subtracting the binding energy of K shell electron, that will be equal to the kinetic energy of that internal conversion electron. So here gamma ray is internally converted into the electron. Therefore, this process is called internal conversion. Since K shell electron is very near to the nucleus, comparing to the L, M, N shells, these emitted electrons produce a series of monoenergetic lines. So the emission of K conversion will leave a vacancy in the K shell, so which is filled by electron from L shell or M shell, etc., that resulting the emission of characteristic X-rays. So here the, how can you understand, say this is the nucleus, first shell, second shell and third cell, right? First, second, third cell, just you imagine. This is the nucleus, K, L, M and it is N and so on, right? So first, following the beta decay or alpha decay, this nucleus will get excited state, right? Then in some fraction of nanoseconds or microseconds, that will come to the ground state. So then gamma energy, what we have written, ZXA star gives rise to gamma photon plus ZXA. This is excited nucleus, it is ground state nucleus. Okay, ground state nucleus. This gamma ray photon energy is imported to this electron existing in the K shell. Okay, due to the transition from excited state nucleus to the ground state nucleus in the gamma decay process or gamma emission. So whatever this electromagnetic radiation or photon energy emitted, that will be transferred to the electron existing in the K shell. So therefore it will be knocked out from the K shell. Then it leaves a vacancy. So to fill that vacancy, electron can jump from L or M shell or N shell and so on. Accordingly, the difference of these energies, this is K alpha, K beta, K gamma, K delta lines. K alpha, K beta, K gamma lines are forming. These lines are called characteristic X-rays. So, what I am saying, due to the conversion, due to the energy transferring to the electron in the K shell, so that electron is ejected out. That electron is called internal conversion electron. Since gamma photon is converting into the electron ejection, This is called internal conversion. Whenever the electron is ejected out, to fill that vacancy, whatever the vacancy created there, to fill that vacancy from higher energy levels, electron is jumping. If the electron is jumped from L to K, then one characteristic line K alpha is forming. If the electron is jumping from M to K, then K beta line is occurring. The electron is jumping to fill this vacancy from N, we are getting the K gamma line. So these are the internal transition between the orbital energy levels. These corresponding electromagnetic radiation is emitting. So when electron jumping from L to K or M to K, again energy difference E2 minus E1 equal to h nu, that energy is called X-ray photon energy. So gamma ray emission is nothing but due to the transition between nuclear energy levels, right, that is coming out from the nucleus. X-ray electromagnetic radiation is nothing but due to the transition between the atomic energy levels. It is very, very important. Due to the transition of electron between atomic energy level, that is outside of the nucleus, X-ray will be emitted out. Due to the transition from high excited state to ground state or high energy state to low energy state, that is inside the nuclear energy levels transition, gamma ray photon is emitted. Hence gamma ray photon energy is more compared to the X-ray photon energy. Gamma ray wavelength is very less compared to the X-ray photon energy. This is called internal conversion, which is taking place in the gamma emission process.